Most business owners think automation is going to fix their problems, but it tends to be that they break more than they fix when they try it. I've helped build systems for over 300 entrepreneurs, and I see the same common mistakes again and again. And also with a lot of YouTube videos telling you these automations that don't actually work in practice for business. So I'm going to show you 3 automations today that can simplify but also elevate your business to over-deliver and handle data better. Nothing overly complicated about these, but they can speed up manual processes way better. Before we get into the video, if you're wanting to rate your business on how scalable it is with the current systems you have, I have a system scorecard down below that you can fill in. It'll take you 5 minutes and it'll give you steps that you can take today to move your company forward. So I'm going to show you 3 different automations that are pretty simple to set up. I'm not going to run through step by step on how you build them, but I'll show you how they are built in case you want to copy them. One of the first ones we're going to look at is an onboarding from Notion to Slack and also creating a client profile inside of your Notion. The next is going to be syncing data from Google Sheets into Notion itself. And then finally, we're going to look at a team sheet where it's a weekly check-in to basically see how things are going with the team and for you to be able to organize that and make sure you're keeping on top of it. If you're wanting to do this sort of as cheap as possible, Notion could be a way to do that where you might not need multiple platforms. You could do quite a lot of it in Notion, but if you're wanting to expand it further, we are going to be using things like Slack, Make, Google Sheets, Google Forms in this video. If you use other platforms, you can 100% use this to your advantage. So we're showing you the onboarding. Let me just take you through it first and foremost of what it actually looks like in practice, and then I'll take you through sort of step by step of how you would do this and how you would build it. So if I just do Andrew Ellis and then my email, I'll just do my business at andrewellis.co. Favorite Pokemon, of course, it's Lucario. And then if we put a link to our socials. So we've said good to go. Obviously we've sent you the email, check your email for the kickoff call being booked. Now this is an addition that we can make, but essentially what's been happening here is we've got the information now of Andrew Ellis that's been there. We've now got a client's page that has been created under Andrew Ellis. So we'll now see the client's page with the email that's been put in, the name that the person put in as well. And if we open this up, we should be able to see the onboarding form that this person has filled in, which is great. So we've got all of that information there. That is a client's page that is now being created. So if I come back out to the core and I come look at my actual client's database, you'll see here all of that information is now being kept in that one area. So you've now got your client calls, projects, tasks, and completed tasks all related to this client that's instantly been created. And if we come over to Slack as well and we come back to our home, you'll now see in our messages that we've got a new client that's filled in the onboarding. So we've got the name, the email, and then their handle to their Instagram. So in this automation, hey, I saw a new client filled in the onboarding, want me to set up a new channel for them. You can just say, yeah, we can name it Andrew Ellis, and then we submit this. And once this is submitted, it's now going to create a new messaging page for that individual. So we've now got the Andrew Ellis page, which has been created, which is fantastic. And then we've also got everything that we sort of need. We've then also created an onboarding space that you could have for your clients so that you can have all of your onboarding stuff that's in here. There could be where to book their kickoff call. It could be what to do next. There's so many things that you can do. All you would have to do at this point is add them to this channel. You can do this with the Slack API, but I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible so that you don't have to go and do a bunch of your own stuff with this. It's really as simple as setting it up. So now let's get into how you actually do this and how you could make this work for yourself. Normally onboarding is this tedious task where a lot of it is manual. You are filling in all the information yourself, you're sending them to where you're wanting to go, you're adding them to certain places. So I want to show you a little bit of a different way that you can do it. Now in Notion, what I've done is I've created a form. If you just do /form, you'll be able to create that. I've filled in some of the information that I'm looking for. So I've got your name, email, what is your favorite Pokemon, and then link to your social media. Now what we've done in here is we've set up 2 automations. The first automation is that we're going to add a new page to the client's database with the actual name that someone has put in here. And then secondly, we're going to put their email also in that page. And then we're going to link this onboarding to the client's page that we've done. So again, when that client's database has been created, we're instantly going to be able to see what sort of answers they've already given. And then what we're going to do next is once a page has been added from the onboarding, so once someone has filled this in, we are going to send a custom message to our Slack channel to basically say a new client has filled in the onboarding form. Here's their name, here's their email, and here's the trigger page linked to their socials. So the links that they've given. And then we're going to send a webhook to Slack basically saying, here's all the information. Now, this is because in Slack, I've set up an automation itself to be able to trigger when that happens. So in the workflow for Slack, essentially what it's doing is it's waiting on that webhook. It's then sending this message in, it's collecting that information from the form of basically, what is the client's name, and then it's creating the channel and adding a canvas, which is the onboarding canvas to that. So that when we come back out to here, that onboarding canvas can be a template where you can have certain things of here's a link to your portal, or here's a link to booking your first kickoff call, all of those sorts of things. Now, a few ways if you're wanting to take this a step further that you can make even more automated is you could have this directly linked to your Stripe. So if you're wanting to take your Stripe notification of someone being paid, that can then send that directly to them, the form directly to that email. Then once they fill in that form, this is when all of this can start. Also, if you don't have something like Slack and you're wanting to communicate with them in a different way, you could do this by email. So you could send them an email with the onboarding form. You could then send them an email afterwards with a link to all of their stuff. But I wanted to use it as a platform that probably a lot of people do use for their clients, and it's a really simple way of actually breaking it down. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is the scorecard, and this is essentially your scorecard for your business. It could be a really simple scorecard of how things are getting on. Maybe people fill this in every single week. I see a lot of people who use Google Sheets and then don't do anything with the information. So this is your ability to essentially take your information from one space and put it into Notion or put it into Airtable, ClickUp, Asana, whatever you're using to be able to overview everything that's going on. If you have people like SDRs in your company, if you have people like lead setters or appointment setters and they fill it in on Google Sheets and that's what you've always done, this is a really easy way to just transfer that data into that place. If we look at how this actually runs, it's just a simple automation of watching particular rows side of Google Sheets. It's then creating a Notion database with the sheet name and then the deals closed and the sort of number that it's got, and then it's updating the sheet in Sheets. So if we do this as 30, we'll do this as 15, and we'll do this as 10. And then what we'll do from here is we'll run this automation. It's going to find that sheet. It's then going to create the database inside of Notion, and then it's going to update the row inside of here to tell me that it has been transferred. So if we come into the scorecard, you'll now see the 30, 15, and 10. We could obviously have things like the date that this is put in. We can have the dates between if you also do that, where it's every single day that someone fills this in. But this gives you the ability to transfer that data directly from Sheets into Notion, and then you can do what you want with that, because then you can start creating charts in this sort of area. If you're wanting to create charts for, particular leads that have came in, it could be the date and then number of deals closed with the sum. So you could start really playing around with this and making it work for you so that all the information could be kept in here. Some of the use cases that I've saw is people doing inventory work. It's been for clients who they want to collect all of the data for each of the individual clients in one particular area. So this is a fantastic way of taking data directly from Sheets into your actual Notion. So all you really need to do is you need to connect your Google Drive, look for the sheet name, everything that's going on. You then create the database inside of Notion. Again, you look for the database ID, and then you create all of the stuff that's actually happening. You just link it directly to Sheets, and then you'll update that row just so that it doesn't actually transfer data that's already been transferred. It just is a sort of update of, yep, we've got this, it's all good. And you can still keep the information inside of Sheets if that's what you've already used, if that's what you've used successfully. Sheets is also a fantastic way as it's born for actual database entries, whereas Notion isn't. So it sometimes does calculations way better, and that's why Sheets can be a fantastic thing to use. But that allows you to take it directly from Google Sheets into your Notion without actually having to do too much extra work. This also means that if you have particular people that are doing certain things, you could also tag the person inside of Notion itself, so you know who's doing what, and you can then split those people so that you can see, how are people getting on, how are different appointment setters or salesmen, anything like that getting on. If you don't have an integrated place where you keep that information, something like high level, then this can be a really good way of actually doing that on a lower scale. So the final one that we're going to show today is the team check-in. So if you do check-ins every week with your team and you want to see how they've been getting on, or you do check-ins with new hires or anything like that, then this can be a fantastic way of doing it. And I wanted to show this in a bit of a different way. Maybe you don't use something like Notion Forms just at this moment in time. Maybe you've always used something like Google Forms. So you can do this. It's really, really simple as well. Essentially, we're just taking the form response, we're then creating a database in Notion about the team member, and then we're also sending a message to Slack basically saying, here's what they've given for the feedback. They've just finished their weekly check-in. You can find the answers here. So what I'll do now is I'll show you an action of what it actually looks like to be able to do this. Essentially submitting the Google form into Notion and then creating the message in Slack. So if we just have the team check-in right here, where we've got the name, the rating of the week, what to improve, and then what can help more as a team lead, being me being a terrible boss. So we submit this information, we're going to run this once, it's going to get that Google form, it's going to create the Notion database, and then it's going to create the message in Slack. So if we look at this weekly check-in, you'll now see here, we've got the name, so much, and then the support that's needed. So we've got all of that information for us with what is going on. Also in Slack, you'll see here, we've got just finished their weekly check-in. You can see their answers here. And then again, we've got that information that has been pinged in directly from the team check-in itself. This is a really good way of just simplifying everything, making sure that you don't have to always go back and forth of knowing what's going on and where. And this just gives you the ability to automate things better. 3 of these are quite simplistic and actually bringing into your business. And it's not something where you have to learn an absolute ton of code to make it work or to actually have it benefit you. If you're wanting to scale your business further with systems, I've got a 7-day series that can help you do exactly that. And the link is down below. You can get it today. Automation themselves isn't something that should break your business. It should help you actually push it further forward. So if you're overcomplicating it, then try to break it down in a really simple format to begin with. Create something that sends an onboarding form automatically and then does something else after that. And then from there, see where automation can come into play. As you scale and hire more, this will become more prevalent, but don't break the business just because you feel you want to automate everything. The video on the screen is going to help you scale your business even further with systems, and I'd highly recommend you checking it out.